Hi everyone, welcome back to Dark Fantasy Therapy, and today we're gonna find out which is the best weapon that you can find in the area of Caelid in Elden Ring. So don't forget to subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and let's begin. In the 10th position I put the Meteoric Ore Blade. That is a katana that you can find in the Waypoint Ruins, quite at the entrance of Caelid. This is a magical katana, that's why it deals both physical and magical damage. It has the slash and pierce attack, so it's good both against soldiers with armor and against animals or demi-humans and so on. It also has a passive, the Blood Loss, that is great, is one of my favorite, and then it has this ability that is not unique but you cannot change with the Ashes of War, that is the Gravitas, where basically you thrust the katana into the ground and you will create this gravity well that will pull the enemies in, and then it will deal also a little of damage. Now here is the problem: when you pull all your enemies around you, you can perform, like with the light attack, a blow that is downward, so you know, very limited in the space, and you cannot hit more than 2 enemies at the same time. And this is a problem because if you perform the gravity well, you will be surrounded by enemies that will have a room to attack you, and or you find the right combination with a magic that can you know, hit a wider area. Otherwise you're just done, terminated. That's why this magical katana is not more than 10th place for me. In the 9th position we find the Nox Flowing Sword. That is a curved sword with a limited range. Actually, it deals physical damage, only slash, and it scales with strength and dexterity, no passive, but to compensate that is very light, and it cannot be infused with the Ashes of War, and to get it you need to go to Celia, Town of Sorcery, and defeat the boss duo that consists of the Nox Sword Stress and the Nox Priest. Now the unique ability that you cannot change is called this flowing form, where basically you transform your shuttle in this liquid form that can be used as a whip to swing, and you can perform this sweeping slice that cover a wider area. This is a nice a nice addition, because as I said, the range of this curved sword is very limited. Okay, you can just focus on one enemy per time, so getting this unique ability where you can hit multiple enemies at the same time and just you know, cover the area before you focus just on one foe is great for me. The Serpent Bow for me deserved the 8th place of this ranking. Is a bow that scales with strength, dexterity and arcane. As you know, it's very rare for a weapon to scale with arcane. It deals pierce damage, and it has as an ability the Mighty Shot that you cannot change with the Ashes of War. Now the good thing about this bow, even if it's a little bow, generally I prefer the great bow, is that you will add a poison damage to your arrows. So it's great, you know, because you don't need to buy specifically poisoned arrows. You can just, of course, you know, the effect will be built up if you got also the poisoned arrows, but otherwise, I mean, you can just use normal one and they will deal a little of poison. And this is great, you know, especially against large foes that you can just deal the effect and then wait for it to finish the enemy without you doing nothing. A great addition for distance, and yeah, if you have the arcane and you don't know how to use it, this is the way. In the 7th place I put the Ruins Greatsword. That is a colossal sword that scales with the strength and intelligence, not with the dexterity, and the requirement of strength is particularly high because it's 50, that it's hard to reach, even when you go to Caelid, that you are not that leveled up. Of course you can still wield it with the 2 hands, but in this way, in my opinion at least, it will still not perform that good, and in any case all your dexterity points will be wasted with this weapon. It's very heavy, of course, as you can expect. There is no passive, and it deals also magical damage. That is great. In any case, you have to defeat the boss duo of the Misbegotten Warrior and of the Crucible Knight at the Red Main Castle when there is not the Festival of Radan. This is an important thing to keep in mind. It cannot be infused with Dash of War, and you get this unique ability called the Wave of Destruction, where you raise the sword up high and then you strike it against the ground to fire off this wave of gravitational force. This is great because it covers a huge area in front of you, so if you have you know, like a line of enemies that is chasing you, that is following you, with this very powerful ability you will defeat all of them in just one shot. It consumes a lot of FP, of course, but I mean, it's great. The only problem with this weapon is that, as I said, all the dexterity points got wasted, and then it's very slow, and the requirement of strength is really too much. In the 6th position we find the Godslayer's Greatsword. That is another colossal sword, but in this case you have to defeat the Godskin Apostle and then go to the chest that will be behind him in the Divine Tower of Caelid. That is an area a little hard to reach, actually. This is a weapon with fire damage and of course even physical one. It scales with the strength, dexterity and faith, so good for a faith build, and it has no passive. It's still very heavy, and it has this unique ability called the Queen's Black Flame, where you set the blade ablaze with the God-slaying Black Flame before delivering a sweeping slash. Additional input allows for a follow-up attack. In other words, yes, you can tear apart the foes with this flaming attack that it goes with a little distance. I mean, it doesn't go that far, but if there are some enemies that are keeping the distance, you will definitely hit them. It's a little slow as an ability, so keep that in mind. An enemy can have the time to attack you before you perform it, but at least the poise is enough to not breaking the ability movement. In any case, yeah, it's good, but it's very heavy, a little slow, and I don't know, just not my favorite probably. In the 5th place I put the Sword of San Trina. That is a straight sword, not a big one. The range is very short, that's why I'm not a big fan. But what makes this weapon almost unique, because there are very few weapons with the same attribute, is that it costs sleep. Okay, it may cause the enemies that got hit to fall asleep. That is for me one of the most powerful passive in the game, even if, I mean, there are so few weapons to get access to that. It deals also magical damage, and it got this unique ability called the Mist of Slumber, where basically you release this faint purple mist that spread across a wide frontwards area, and it inflicts the sleep over the foes. Now, I think that alone probably is not that great because it's still very short, but if you use it in combination with another straight sword, so to have paired weapons and the combined attack, this can be great. Okay, you have just to find another sword that scales with intelligence and that deals other damage that can be cold, can be bleeding, fire and so on. I mean, not with intelligence in this case. In this way you can get, I think, a good weapon set that can be very destructive. In the 4th place I put the Flamberge. That is a great sword, quite basic. He got the physical damage, he scales with the strength and dexterity, he deals standard and pierce damage, and then he got the passive of the Blood Loss. That, as I said, is one of my favorite. You can find it in the Red Main Castle, but not when the Radan Festival is ongoing, so you have to wait or do it before. In any case, it's not unique, it doesn't have the unique ability, and that's why it's great, because you can infuse it with the Ash of War that you prefer, so you can make it magical, flaming, holy, whatever you want, and it's great. I mean, I think that amongst all the great sword, not unique is the best one, because it got bleeding. The moveset is quite easy to understand and to perform correctly. It deals a lot of damage, and I mean, I think it's a good combination of everything, and you can just specialize it in the way that you prefer. In the third place, I put the Moonveil, a katana that you have to defeat a magma worm in the Guile tunnel in Caelid to get it, but it's great. It deals physical and magical damage, so good for an intelligence build. It scales with strength, dexterity and intelligence. It deals slash and pierce damage, and then it got also the passive of the blood loss. That is great for me. Now, the unique ability is one of the best in the entire game. Is called this transient moonlight, and basically it's two different attack. One, you have to press the special ability in both cases and hold it, and then you can follow up with a light normal attack, and in this way you will do an attack that cover a lateral area, like it would be a half a disc, we can say. Or with a strong attack you can perform this singular line vertical that will deals more damage but focus in a shorter area. So if you have to fight a giant, is the heavy one is better. If you have to hit multiple enemies that are surrounding you, the light attack is preferable. And I just love it. I think it's very versatile, and yeah, of course there are some limits like the short range and so on, but overall one of the best weapons in the game. In the second place we find the Starscourge Greatsword. That is a colossal sword, but I would say they are two colossal swords, because it's one of the few weapons that you can use as a paired weapon. So if you hold it with both hands, there will be two weapons and not just one. It's still a great sword with physical attack and magical attack that deals only standard damage. It can scale not only with strength and dexterity but also with intelligence, and it has no passive. Now, it's quite slow and the movement are quite heavy. You can perceive that. You have really to take the right timing, otherwise it's a problem. And then there is this unique ability that it's very great. It's called the Starcaller Cry, and basically you bring the two swords together and roar into the skies, pulling in enemies with a gravitational wave. And you can follow up with an additional input to slam down with gravity-infused swords. In other words, you will still do this gravity well that will attract the enemy all close to you. Of course, this is a little slower than the generic gravity well that we talk, for example, with the meteoric or blade katana. Sorry. So it's you have to keep in mind the timing of this ability, and then you can follow up with this additional attack where you slam the weapons on the ground, and you will cause this earthquake that will hit all the enemies nearby. And yeah, it's very, very strong. Even without a lot of intelligence, it causes a lot of damage. In the first place, I decided to put the Cross Naginata. Now, for many years I completely neglected this weapon, but after so many years I reevaluate that, and now is one of my favorite of the game. Let's start to say that it's a spear, a light spear, so it's very, very fast with its attacks. You can use it in combination with a shield, so you can hold the shield ahead of you as a protection and still hit with the katana, with the spear. Of course, you need a lot of endurance to do that. It deals only physical damage and it scales with the strength and dexterity, but you can infuse it with the Ashes of War. There are many that you can use. My favorite is the Ice Spear, so you can have a kind of missile attack too. But I mean, overall you can just personalize it as you want. And then it has first the passive of the blood loss That is one of my favorite. And then it deals not only pierce damage like all the other spears, but even the slash damage. That is great, okay? It makes it incredibly versatile, okay? Because you can use it both against soldiers with armors and against animals, beasts, and so on. And for me, it's great. I mean, it's really everything I'm looking for in a weapon. And then, as I said, you can just personalize as you prefer. You just need to defeat a giant land octopus in the Guile tunnel to get it, so not even a hard boss to fight. And yeah, for me it's definitely my favorite in Caelid.